The American Cancer Society will agree that lifestyle plays a majority role in cancer prevention. Really, 85 to 90%, with smoking and obesity being the major problems. Now, many of my patients come to me for immunity issues and other types of metabolic disease like um, diabetes and obesity as well. And then, of course, we do have a clinic that caters to those people who are looking for alternative treatments for cancer therapy. Now, it's not too often that I have a patient that's coming in just for alternative medicine in regards to longevity. And so when they come in for that kind of a program, I love it because it's so much easier to prevent than it is to treat. And so the type of a protocol that I would put them on, since they are not overweight, they don't have any metabolic issues like diabetes or any cholesterol issues, blood pressure issues, then I would recommend a modified Mediterranean diet. Now, I think the Cancer Society would also agree that the Mediterranean diet would be their preferred for prevention. And so that is going to be very minimal in red meat. And if you do consume some red meat, preferably what we would consider the most wild. And so for the Mediterranean, it's going to be goat and sheep. But then, we might say that bison and buffalo, venison are also going to be wild. And then you go to the lamb, and then you go to the domestic beef. So again, they would want you to limit to about once a week, I'd say would be a good go in terms of the acidic nature of red meat and very hard to digest oftentimes. So fish is recommended about 3 times a week with some white poultry, turkey as well. And then, of course, legumes will make up the rest of it. And my favorite is chickpeas because it's really a pulse. And honestly, it has almost all the amino acids that a piece of meat would have except for one. So the 22, what we call essential amino acids, except for it doesn't have methionine in it. And that's why a lot of times you see that the recommendation of beans with grains like quinoa, for example. Quinoa has methionine in it. And it has all of the, many of the amino acids as well. The unfortunate thing about a pulse and a grain together is that they may add up to too many carbohydrates at one go. So I like to use millet because it has lowest lectins and it's still alkaline in nature. So I would use it onto a salad or in a soup or in a stir fry, but not necessarily, if I'm going to mix it with chickpea, maybe 2 tablespoons, but not a whole, bowl of quinoa, and then on top of that, the beans, because that would be too many carbohydrates. So that's where I would modify the Mediterranean diet. Now, at the same time, we want to load our plate with a lot of vegetables, as much, and I say up to 8 servings of vegetables a day, and maybe at the maximum, 2 servings of some fruit. Now, a serving is about a half a cup. So we don't going to be eating fruit just throughout the day, especially in between our meals, because that will make our insulin levels go up and down. So a lot of times I like to really make fruit salads. That means a lot of greens and then a little bit of blueberries, hemp seeds. I like to keep those meals with fruit in them as for the food combining principle, more vegetarian nature. So of course, clean water is essential, and most people don't drink enough water and are very dehydrated, which is so important on a cellular level, especially to hold the minerals inside the cell. And so we need to have a good functioning cell, because we know that especially cancer, it thrives off of no oxygen and acidic condition, as well as plenty of glucose. So oftentimes the Mediterranean diet, because of the pulses and the beans and the grains and fruits, can be a little bit higher in carbohydrates. So we want to modify that down. But if somebody's not interested in losing weight and they're healthy, then I would say they would go the maximum carbohydrates, which is usually for a woman somewhere around 28 grams per meal, and for a man somewhere around 45. So that would allow for a nice salad with some beans in it, and some maybe 2 tablespoons of millet or quinoa in there, not much more, and then all the rest vegetables as well. Now, the Mediterranean diet does recommend having some eggs as well, and some grass-fed cheese. So we want to go to the harder cheeses, the goat and the sheep. Also, if you're going to move to some of the softer ones as well, are lovely, and they're just a good augmentation. So kind of look at it as a flexitarian type of a mindset. fish a couple times a week, minimal on the red meat, and then the other times you can have some turkey or chicken, and then the rest pulses, because most people are going to eat at least 2 to 3 times a day. Shouldn't really eat any more than that, but when you get to my age, really we only need 2 meals a day. So if we're drinking plenty of water, we're filling our plate with a lot of vegetables. We're choosing whatever protein we have, which is a vegetarian protein, which would be beans or tofu that is not genetically modified and fermented. That would be a good start on the protein. And then the other half of the plate with your nice salad, so you've got that raw enzymes, and then some cooked vegetables is always a great idea. I don't really like drinking with the meals because it dilutes the digestive enzymes as you eat. So again, taking a nice glass of water while you're cooking and drinking and hydrating, because oftentimes we appear more that we're hungrier, but really we are just thirsty. So those are little tips on how you can stay younger, longer, and enjoy a vital and healthy life.